Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Alex.
Hello, Richard. Hello, everybody.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Easter on this Easter weekend. My name's Richard, and I'm joined by Alex tonight, and we are here for a business focus activity. And the one we have chosen tonight is about meetings, and it's at beginner level. And the name of the focus, what's the status? But before we start the focus, we'll introduce ourselves to people that maybe don't know us. And of course, during the focus, please introduce yourselves, tell us where you are listening from, or viewing from, maybe I should say, and any questions that you have regarding the focus or in general, please put in the comments and we'll answer them to the best of our abilities. So to begin with, as I said, my name is Richard and I'm originally from Wales. So I am Welsh. I've lived in 3 or 4 countries up until now, which have been Spain, Slovakia, and now Italy. I'm living in Italy for 4.5, 5 years. And I also lived in London for 15 years. I lived for a very long time in London. And I am a teacher at MAIES in Milan, in the school in Meravigli. And I'm a corporate teacher, which means that I teach in companies inside and outside of Milan, in the area of Milan. So, Alex, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. So, my name is Alexandra. You can call me Alex. I also am a corporate teacher, which means that I teach to companies and individuals as well. So, individuals who need to learn English for study reasons or for work reasons. I am bilingual, which means I speak 2 languages. I speak American and Italian. I live in Milan, and I also work for the Milan School of Meravigli, because there are several schools in Milan. MAIES has 3 schools, and I work in the Meravigli one. So for all of us, all of you that are listening to us, if you can just drop a line with who you are and where you're listening from, we'd like to know which is your school and which is your job, if you would like to tell us.
Yeah, let us know if you are students. If you are students, let us know what you are studying, and is it is it business related, like administration, or is it more creative or artistic? So okay, and as Alex said, we both work in the school in Meravigli, so we are colleagues. Okay, let's have a
Mhm.
look. Let's have a look at the title. The title is "What's the Status?" and the meaning of this in this context is when we're asking, "What's the progress?" Yes, we want an update on the subject we are talking about. Yeah, so what's the status on a project, or what's the status on a piece of work in general, so we are up to date. Okay,
Exactly. Please mind that the word status can be used also outside of business purposes. So I can talk about a social status, but in this context, as Richard said, it means progress, at what point you are in a project or in a
So,
product or in anything.
so if we're talking about social status, we are talking about what, Alex?
We're talking about the level in society. So
Ah,
which level we belong to.
okay. All right. Perfect. Let's have a look at.
Let's have a look. So in this business activity, we're going to look at ways to discuss current projects and learn also how to give an update, a progress update on a project. For this reason, we're going to look at some grammar, the present simple, and the present continuous.
Great.
Okay, so let's start.
Okay.
Meetings, meetings, meetings.
Too many meetings. Huh?
Too many,
Okay,
definitely too many.
let's have a look at this quote. We have a quote here from Jonah, I think is how you say it. Jonah Goldberg, who is a pundit, and his quote, is, "I think there needs to be a meeting to set an agenda for more meetings about meetings." Okay. Quite funny. I'm sure we've all been in this situation where you're having meetings about meetings about meetings. Yes. In this quote, we have a word here which is agenda, and an agenda tells us what we are going to talk about in the meeting, the list of topics or issues that are discussed in the meeting. And when we make an agenda, okay, we use the verb to set. Okay, we set an agenda is when we are brainstorming about what we want to speak about and we are going to put it down. So we set an agenda. Okay, and here we have some questions. Should we have a look at the first one, Alex?
Sure, of course. So what's the purpose of meetings? The purpose is a synonym for the reason. So what's the reason for meetings?
Okay. So, why do you have meetings, Alex? Do we as a school maybe will use it? Why do we have
can
meetings?
Talk in general for our business reality. So generally, we have meetings to decide, to make decisions. So to decide maybe which type of activities to do and who is responsible for certain activities. Meetings can be also used to give updates on projects. So they allow you to discuss at what point you are and which actions need to be done. And maybe if the results are the expected ones. So if things are going as you had planned. Other reasons for meetings can be basically, I think in our field could be getting professional updates. So maybe learning new things that we need for our job. And yeah, I guess these would be the main ones. What do you think? Richard, can you hear me? So I think we have some problems, some connection problems tonight. In the meantime,
Yeah, well, we
let's
have,
just... Okay, can you hear me?
Alex, you break up a little bit, but if I can just maybe... Yeah,
Okay. So in the meantime, although we're having some technical problems, if you are following us and you do meetings as well, please let us know why you do meetings, which are the most common reasons for you to have meetings. And I must say that as a teacher, I often participate in meetings. Meetings can happen on a weekly basis. Hello, Richard, back. Welcome back.
Hi, sorry, Alex, I got knocked out
It's okay.
of the broadcast.
I was just
Yeah, sorry.
asking our viewers to eventually let us know the reasons for their meetings, and we were introducing how frequently meetings can take place. And I was
Okay.
just about to say that as teachers, we generally have weekly meetings. There can be meetings that happen every week for professional updates. And like I said, we use the adverb weekly to say that something happens every week. And Richard, what if a meeting happens every month?
Again, we use the adverb monthly, so we can have monthly meetings that happen every month. It's quite normal for companies to have progress meetings every 3 months. So these are called quarterly meetings, because if you think it'll be 4 3s, which are 12, so it'll be quarterly. Companies don't have so many meetings, so they may have maybe 2 a year. So we would call these biannual meetings. And of course, if you just have 1 meeting a year, it would be called an annual meeting. A lot of limited companies have what they call AGMs, which stand for general meetings, where they give you the progress of the company over that year. They give you the profits, the losses, and also they discuss future plans for the company and give information like what dividends will be paid to the shareholders. Have a lot of different types of meetings. The frequency changes depending on the company and so on. Okay. Next one. What projects do we have at the moment? The projects we normally have in MyS is basically, I would think we could describe a project, some new courses that we are planning on, and what type of material that maybe would be more suited for these projects. Very similar to the purpose of the meetings, really, like Alex described about the purpose of the meetings. We normally discuss which new courses that we have coming up, what are we going to do for those courses, courses, the levels that we have to teach, and these are also then maybe encompassed in what we could call a project. Yes. What we are going to do there. Okay.
And who do you normally meet with in a meeting?
Okay. Who do I normally meet with? Sorry, I did lose you for a second again. The connection, I don't know, it's very unstable.
The connection is bad tonight, yes.
We normally meet with our
I think we're losing the connection again. So generally, you're back? Okay, good.
Yes, I can hear you, Alex. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay. Yes, now I do.
Okay. Yeah, so basically we meet with we can meet with our consultants who work in the school. We may meet with our directors of the school, our directors of studies, whether they be corporate or the director of studies in general for the school. We sometimes meet with students also. Yes.
Yes.
Maybe if
we
doing
give some
a specific course, like maybe if a student is doing their IELTS or yeah, we sometimes meet with our students to discuss their progress, maybe work, how we can help them in general. And let's have a look at the last question, which is, where do we have our meetings? To be honest, it really depends. I mean, we tend to have our meetings at school. I believe, Alex, also you. And also, of course, if we are having a meeting with our students, we're teaching at the company, then it's more than likely that we would have the meetings at the company in one of their meeting rooms, for example. We sometimes have meetings like we are now by video conference.
Online.
So we could, yeah, so we could be at home. Yes. I've had many meetings with Alex in this period, and these have taken place at home because we're in lockdown and we can't go. So we use modern technology now to have meetings. So basically, you can have them anywhere. Okay, let's. How's my connection, Alex? Is it okay?
It's sometimes dodgy, but it's okay now. So now let's look at some questions that we can ask inside a meeting. So if, for example, we are to hold a meeting on a project, so if, for example, we're interested in knowing at what point that project is, so what's the status of the project, we can ask some questions, and we can use these questions to organize the information we want to collect from our peers, our colleagues, and maybe information that we can give and share with them. So let's look at some of these questions. As you can see, on the left, there's half of the question, and you have to match them with the other half on the right. So let's look at the first one.
Okay.
So do you
Okay,
want
so what do we need to
Richard?
know here? I think this is a very general question. Yeah, sorry, I disappeared again. Okay, I think this is maybe a very general question when we want maybe an update. So I think the question is, what are we doing this week? So when we want maybe an update on the progress, our way forward. Okay, perfect. So it's what are we doing this week? Next one, Alex.
Then comes another general question. Do you have any news? So is anything new happening or has happened that we need to be updated on?
Okay, the next one's about the responsibility. I would think for a specific task. And let's have a look here. What type of roles or tasks? So there, yes, we have responsible for the graphics. Okay, because here we are looking
Yes,
at a
in this
company
case,
that
it's important to notice the preposition for when we ask who is responsible. So who is responsible for? Never forget that preposition. And then comes the question,
okay,
where
and
is? Sorry, shall I go?
okay, yeah, okay,
Okay. So where is your lead programmer? It could be anyone. In this case, it's just an example. So where is such and such? Where is this person?
very good. So where is your lead programmer? And again, really, this follows on from the last question. Where is your lead programmer? So he's not there. We're asking, where is he? So we want to know the reason. So we would ask, why isn't he here?
Precisely.
Okay.
And finally, when. So we were interested in knowing a time. When can we release the app? So if you look at these questions, you will notice that apart from the second one, they are all open questions. So the only closed question is number 2. Do you have any news? It is a closed question because I can only answer with a yes or a no.
Perfect.
All
Very
the
good.
other, yes, all the other open questions have a question word. Question words can be, for example, what, who, where, why, when, and a sixth one, which is not here, how. So again, we have a few technical problems, but let's look at the meaning of these question words. So starting from the top, what is used to ask questions on things or information? For example, what are we doing this week? Who is used for asking information on a person? For example, who is the person responsible for the graphics? Where is asking about a place? Where is the lead programmer? Why is for reasons. So we want to know the reason why the programmer isn't here. And finally, when is, like I said before, to ask for a date, for a time. So at this point, we can go and look how, here we are.
Sorry,
Welcome back again.
you went also, yes? I think both of our...
No, I went on talking.
Sorry, Alex. And I do apologize, everybody.
It happens. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure on the network in these days.
I mean, we haven't had too many problems, really, luckily, up until tonight. We had a few problems maybe 3 or 4 days ago, but tonight seems quite bad, and it seems to be on my side. Sorry, guys. So if I if I disappear, I'll try and get back in. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Alex,
We
for
were
holding
just
the
about,
fort.
it's okay. We were just about to go to the dialogue. So, ready?
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
we can do this successfully.
Okay. So, we're going to look at, sorry, too much. Again,
Okay.
I don't know, but here we are. So we're going to look at a dialogue between two people. Richard,
Okay.
you want to be Aaron and I will be Christine?
Yes. So, guys, bear with us. We'll try and get through this. Okay. Do you have any news?
Could you repeat that, please?
What are you doing this week?
The Grover app has some problems. We are correcting them. Okay. So, what is the deadline for this app? It should be ready by the 17th, a week from Friday. When can we release the app? As I said, we're still testing the code for the Grover app. Okay, so who's responsible for the graphics on this project? Ginters is doing all of the design. Where is your lead programmer? I'm afraid I don't follow you. Why isn't Ron here? Ron is working at home today. He isn't feeling well. Okay, so we have just completed the dialogue. And we will look at some of the vocabulary in this dialogue. So once again, this dialogue is about an update on a project. So
Okay, Alex, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Thank you for finishing the dialogue. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening.
It's okay. It's a bad connection, so it happens. So I was just commenting on the content of the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dialogue between two people, and the purpose of the dialogue is to find at what point a project is. And so let's look at some of the expressions that are in this dialogue. So, for example,
Okay.
if we want to know, if you want to know at what point a project is, we can ask, what is the deadline for this app? So, Richard, what is the meaning of deadline?
Deadline is normally a time frame in which you want something finished by. okay, where you give someone a date to say, I want this by, say, tomorrow. And tomorrow would be the deadline. So when we are thinking about the deadline, if say you and I have a project and we need to get someone to do some work for us and we are thinking about the deadline, we have to think of a date, yes, we use the verb to set. We set a deadline. When we actually make the deadline, we set it, yes? So, oh, let's set the deadline for this project. Which deadline should we set, Alex? We'll set the deadline for next week. That'll give them enough time to finish this piece of work. Okay, Alex and I set someone a deadline. They look at the deadline and they have to achieve this deadline. If they achieve it, the verb we use is to meet. If you meet a deadline, you're successful. If you don't meet a deadline, you're not successful. Okay, of course, many of you must probably work to different deadlines. A lot of people set you guys deadlines. Some of these deadlines can be difficult. Some of them can be quite easy. So if someone sets you a deadline, which you think this is a crazy deadline, there's no way I'm going to get this done in that time, we could say we've been set an impossible deadline, for example. If it's a deadline that we think, yeah, this is okay, we can do this in this period, no problem. It could be a realistic deadline. Yes. What's the realistic deadline for this? 4 or 5 days. Okay. Of course, contrary to that, the opposite would be unrealistic. If the deadline is not so long, but we can do it, we could say it's a short deadline. Or maybe if it's a little bit shorter, but again, we think we can do it, we could say it's a tight deadline. Okay. Or maybe if there's a long period, it could be a long deadline. So we have a lot of words there that we can use to describe deadlines. So basically, when we do try to set a deadline, we try to set deadlines that are realistic.
Precisely.
Alex, you worked in advertising. I'm sure sometimes you had some impossible deadlines, yes, or some very tight deadlines.
Yeah, things that had to be completed by yesterday.
Very good. That's a good.
Yes.
That's a good.
When's the deadline? Yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. When do you want it by? Yesterday. Oh, okay.
All yesterday.
Right. Yes.
Some people actually answered like this, so I'm being serious.
No, I've heard it. People do answer like that, which unfortunately is not very nice for the person that has to try to do the work. Yes.
No pressure, huh?
No. I'm sure you. And also, sometimes a deadline can change. So we use the verb, well, we could use the verb to change, but it's quite often also that we use the verb to move the deadline.
Or to postpone.
Oh, postpone, yes, completely, yes. So the deadline should be tomorrow, but we are going to move the deadline to Friday. Tomorrow, Saturday, sorry, to Monday. Yes? Okay.
Very good. So now we're going to look very quickly at some of the verbs in this dialogue, and we're going to review some of the tenses that we can see in this dialogue. More specifically, as we can see, if we read through the sentences, in this dialogue we can find 2 tenses. So the first tense is the present simple, as in the question, do you have any news? The other tense that we can find in this dialogue is the present continuous. What are you doing this week? So let's
Perfect.
look when we use one, when we use the present simple, and when do we use the present continuous?
Okay. So here we have a slide showing us on how to use and what we use the present simple for. I would like you just to concentrate. There's quite a lot of information there. So if you can just concentrate on the top part first, and it tells us that we use the present simple for describing duties. A duty is a synonym of the work you do, the jobs you do, the tasks you do, okay, giving facts and explaining results. And for the present perfect, we use the subject plus the verb. So our first example is, I have lunch at Malponi's Steakhouse. Okay, it's a fact. This is where I have lunch. You work in advertising. Again, a fact. And Ron reports to Aki, I think, when Christine is away. Okay, so just to review, in this context, we use the present simple for describing duties, giving facts, and explaining results. We also use the present simple for, in this context, when we schedule a meeting and when we talk about the times of a meeting. So we would say the meeting starts at, yes, the meeting finishes at. Okay, so we're using third person present simple to describe a schedule or basically a timetable. Okay, anything you'd like to add, Alex? Have I covered it more or less?
That was perfect. We can look at some more examples of sentences that require the simple present or the present simple by completing the dialogues, the sentences below. So let's look at the first one. In general, the client is always right. And I just cannot stand this sentence, but a lot of people do think that the client is always right.
And the client always thinks they're right, yeah.
And the client always thinks they're right.
It's a very general phrase that we do use in English. Maybe there's an equivalent in Italian also, but they always say, yes, the client is always right. Okay.
Right. Let's look at the second one.
Okay. We usually have meetings. Oh, sorry, Alex.
No, it's okay. I was reading with you.
We usually have meetings on Monday mornings. So this is a fact, and this is something that is a routine, which we also use the present simple for. Okay, it's something that occurs regularly. Yes. Okay, the next one. You or I?
I may go. So when the project is difficult, Aaron helps us. So in this case, I am probably explaining, again, something that happens frequently. So it could be a routine or also a duty. So when there is a certain situation, something else happens.
Okay. The next one is we have a meeting once a week. Okay. Again, it's a routine, something that happens often. Yes, if you remember, we do use the present perfect with
Present
adverbs
simple.
of present. Sorry, thank you very much. Present simple with it's Friday night. We do use the present simple with adverbs of frequency. Okay, and the adverbs of frequency describes a routine. So here it's once a week. Perfect.
Next is Alpha Apps makes excellent apps. So we are stating a fact. So we are, or if you want, you're giving an explanation, or no, basically stating a fact. I correct myself. And that is why we use the present simple.
Okay, and the next one would be the cost increases when you have more projects. Okay, this is the result of when you have more projects, the cost increases. So it's a result. Okay, the next exercise, we are going to look at some sentences.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. You can bring them up. It's okay. And what we need to do is to think which one is the correct one. We have two describing the same thing. One is correct, one isn't. Okay. So we have, I'm not sure how you pronounce this, guys. I don't know if this is Gintas or Gintas. Generally is doing or does all the design. So here we're talking about the fact. So we wouldn't use it in the continuous form. We would use the present simple, and the present simple of to do in the third person is does. So we would say Gintas generally does all the design. Okay, next one, Alex.
The next one is we usually correct or are correcting all the problems. So again, look carefully at the adverbs that are in this sentence. Usually suggests that it's something that occurs quite often. So also in this case, we would choose correct, which is the present simple.
Okay. The next one, we have we test or are testing all the code once every week. So here again, we are looking at something that happens regularly. And we said when we describe a routine, something that happens regularly, and we use an adverb of frequency, we use the present simple. So the answer would be we test all the code once every week. Yeah.
And finally, we work or are working at home when we are sick. So in this case, we are looking at a habit. Every time that something happens, we react in a certain way. And so also in this case, we use the present simple. So we're going to show you now all the correct answers. And please note the adverbs. We have generally or in general. We have usually. We have once every week or once a week. And we use the connector when.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
So now,
to finish,
shall we
yes.
move to the present continuous? Okay.
To finish, we will look at the present continuous, and we use the present continuous for actions that are happening now or in the present period. Okay, so we concentrate on what is happening now or the present period. And for this, we use the subject, I am or you are, plus the gerund. I never know how you say this word. But guys,
Gerund.
don't gerund. Is it gerund? Yeah.
I say gerund, so I don't know if it's American.
I have no idea. But guys, all it is, okay, all you have to remember it's the verb and ing. Sometimes you don't really need to know the real grammar words for it. Yes, as long as you remember present continuous, subject, verb, and ing, or gerund or gerund. So the example. Okay, we need to fill in the gaps here. Okay, so we need to think of the verb to be and how we're going to use it in these examples. So first person is going to be I am having, it's okay, I am having lunch right now. The second one is going to be you are working on the Grover app. And for the last one is he or she is starting a new project this week. This week is going to be basically in this present time. Okay. All right. So as you can see, we use the subject and the verbs there. So we have the verb to have, to work, and to start with the ing at the end. Okay.
We can also use contractions. So that means that we can contract the verb to be. For example, I can say I am having or I'm having, as well as you are working or you are working. So I'm contracting. Again, he or she is starting or she's starting.
Perfect. Okay, and to finish, we have a little exercise which is going to test our comprehension. Okay, we have some questions here, and we have the answers on the right-hand side of the screen. Yes, and all the answers are in the present perfect. So if you just concentrate on the verbs, you will see that they are using the ing form. Should we ask each other the questions, Alex?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. So, where is Aaron now?
So the answer is Aaron is coming back to the office from the bank.
Perfect.
Shall I ask the second one?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing at the moment?
We're working. Also, okay. We're working on a new. Very keen. We're working on a new game for iOS and Android.
Let's look
Next
at number
one,
3.
yeah. Who is entertaining the Grover people?
Ron and Christine are having lunch with the clients.
Okay. What are the program? Mm-hmm.
What are the programmers doing this week?
They're correcting all problems with the code. And is he helping you on this project?
Aki isn't working on this. He's developing a banking app.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Yes.
So just as a quick revision, in today's focus, we looked at some vocabulary for meetings. Okay. We talked a little bit about your habits for meetings. We also reviewed the present simple, where we're describing duties and facts. And to finish with, we have looked at the present continuous, which describes actions that are happening now or in the present period. And for that, we use the subject and the verb and ing. So guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We do apologize for some of the technical issues, but these things happen. We wish you all a nice Easter and a nice break, and hopefully we shall see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
Keep on following us.
Thanks very much, guys. Yes, thank you very much.